Storytime, my boyfriend tried to kill me so he could have my life insurance money. So I decided to go on Tinder to look for some potential matches, and lo and behold, a guy named Jared was there. He was adorable, he was charming, and we had multiple cell phone calls before deciding to meet. We met at Red Lobster, and it was like fireworks. He was so romantic and looked like a 6-foot-something cowboy. He took me to a wildlife bird refuge after dinner, and I instantly fell for him. We dated for months, and everything was mostly good. However, he was just very pressuring for things. And I didn't want to take things too fast. I was 21 and he was 31. Eventually, this just gave me some bad vibes, so I decided to cut off the relationship. But a few months later, he called me saying that he couldn't forget me. He had been married before and his wife had passed away, so I felt very sympathetic towards him. He had a really nice job, making over $150K a year, and he said that all he wanted to do was take care of me and my child. So I moved in and things were good again. I would wake up in the morning, he would make me coffee, and I would help him with his kids. But I noticed that my weight was starting to go down. And that's when I realized he was putting something in my coffee. Follow me on Insta and stay tuned for part 2.
My daughter Savannah is the CEO of faking illness to get out of school. So when she does not feel like being there, she will go to the nurse's office and complain to them that she is really not feeling good so that they call me and I have to go get her. Well, one day after this happens, I walk into the administrative office and everybody is really concerned because Savannah is sitting in a chair like so dramatically like, hi, Mom. And like when I saw her, I burst out laughing. I was like, oh my God, are you okay? And everybody looked at me like I was some really bad mom. Like, oh my God, why aren't you more concerned? But as we were walking out, she was walking really slow and actually didn't look good. So even I was a little concerned. I was like, oh my God, honey, are you okay? Until we got to the car when Savannah looks at me and goes, you know what, Mom? I feel better now. And I was like, Savannah, are you serious? And she's like, Mom, do you maybe want to go to Starbucks and have like a girls' day? And I was like, honey, what kind of question is that? You know I do.
Storytime, my parents found out that I was dating a white boy. So a little background information. My parents are super strict, especially my dad. And on top of that, my dad thought that races should not mix. One of his sayings was, you don't see a blue jay fucking a pigeon. AKA, white people and black people should not be together. Sounds fucking stupid. Yeah, I know. Anyways, like I was saying, it was my freshman year of high school and I had been dating this boy for 2 months. And of course he was white. And we had to keep it super low-key because if any of my friends found out about it, they would have fucking told my dad. Now when I look back at it, those weren't good friends at all. Anyways, every Friday, my boyfriend and I would go to the movies. And we would go to this theater that was 45 minutes away because nobody that I knew would be there. The only person that knew that I was dating a white boy was my sister. Well, the one day after the movies, I couldn't get a ride home, so I had to get a ride home with him and his family. And as soon as I pulled up, my parents were waiting outside, like for part 2.
Advice for girls. Be loud and gross and take up space. Stop saying sorry and start saying don't interrupt me. Stop saying because I have a boyfriend and start saying because I said so. Say no and say none of your business. Take selfies and don't laugh at jokes that aren't funny. Be snide and sarcastic and wear your hair the way that you like it. Help out other girls and be vocal about what makes you mad. Be masculine and feminine and both and neither and be unapologetic. Don't set aside your comfort for boys' egos.
So this is about the time that my toxic best friend tried to sleep with my dad. To provide just a little bit of backstory, we'll call this friend Jordan. And I met her over this past summer and it turned out we both had kids around the same age. So of course, wanting my kid to have a little bit of interaction, we decided to do play dates together. Our kids started hanging out so much that we got really, really close. And I honestly considered her to be really trustworthy. So I decided to invite her to this family cookout. And that's when things really hit the fan. From a distance, I saw herself introducing herself to my dad, giving herself a little hair flip and blatantly flirting. I would like to add that Jordan has been happily married for years. So watching this flirting get worse, I decided to confront both of them. I was like, yo, I do not approve of you hooking up with my dad. He's 20 years older than you and you are married. She was like, okay, and I thought it was left at that. So months go by and I have her over to help me take pictures for OnlyFans. I was doing like a little promotion thing and she offered to hop in the pictures with me, which I thought was totally cool. But then her husband comes home to surprise her. And then I kid you not, he looks over her shoulder and sees her sending them to my dad. Like for part 2. This story time is a warning to please be cautious if you ever speak to someone over the internet. So when I was 14 and still in high school, my local area was going through a weird stage where someone was trying to contact a lot of the 14-year-olds and see if they wanted to join an escort agency. This was done over Facebook, and of course, most of the girls just ignored these messages. However, my friends and I thought it'd be funny if we ended up messaging this person back. Obviously, bad idea. We weren't serious about meeting up with this person, we really just thought it was a big joke. However, once I was by myself, I continued to message this person. They kept commenting on how beautiful I was and said that I was like a sister to them. I was obviously very impressionable at 14 years old and was wanting all the attention I could get. So I continued to message the person on the other side of the phone for the next couple of weeks, not realizing that I was being groomed. After the next couple of weeks, I was sitting in class and I got an extremely panicked message from my mom saying that I need to come home immediately and that she needs my phone. I guess a family friend of ours had told her about the messages and had also seen a lot of the escort advertisements. So my mom read through the messages, quickly called the police, and the conclusion was to block the account and be more careful next time. I thought it was case closed, but I was wrong. Stay tuned for part 2 and follow me on Instagram.
My sister made a Facebook post basically saying that I'm selfish because I have 4 kids, but I won't be her surrogate and help her have a baby. My mom and a small handful of people are extremely angry at me, calling me all sorts of names for being selfish. On the other hand, several others, including my dad and my brothers, are taking my side, which is why I made my own Facebook post. I explained my situation and how it would be a high-risk pregnancy and the complications I had with my last child. Several people tagged my sister in my post to tell her off, but she blocked everyone and then called and screamed at me for putting personal information on Facebook. Then my sister's boyfriend called me and apologized. He had no idea that she had asked me, and he even offered to find surrogacy with her, but she always complained that it was too much. My mom never commented or said anything on my post, but then I asked her to lunch and she agreed. When I arrived, she started telling me off for going on Facebook to complain. Apparently this is a family matter and should be talked about privately. I then asked her how my body was a family matter. All she said was, "I made you, so it's a family matter." This is when things got intense.
Story time on how me and my stepdad were doing the nasty and my mom walked in on us. Okay, so boom. I was 18 at the time and my stepdad was 40. My stepdad been with my mom for like 2 years and it's only the 3 of us in the house. My stepdad always treated me well and gave me lots of money. Every time my mom would tell me no, here comes my stepdad to the rescue, turning that to a yes. Me and my stepdad were alone together a lot and it would be very flirty between us. As the days went by, we got flirtier and flirtier and farther and farther. It started off as flirting, then we cuddled, and then cuddling turned into making out. I literally couldn't wait till my mom goes to work so I could spend time with him. My mom didn't suspect a thing. When my mom was home, I barely talked to my stepdad and I always stayed in my room. At this point, me and my stepdad didn't do the nasty yet, but this night I was gonna make sure it happened. Cause I seen my stepdad kiss my mom goodbye and I was pissed. Once she left, I turned it up. Like for part 2.
Storytime on how I found my daughter without even looking for her. When I was 15, I got pregnant by who I thought was the love of my life. But as soon as he found out that I was pregnant, he said he didn't want anything to do about it and that if I wanted, I could get an abortion. I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about it. I decided to tell my mom. I was scared at first, but then I remembered my mom and I have a really good relationship. And she told me I had 3 options. I could have the baby, I could have an abortion, or I could have the baby and give it up for adoption. I decided to have the baby, which later on I found out it was a girl, and then give her up for adoption because I wasn't going to be able to give her the life that she deserved. And I said that maybe in the future, I would look for her, explain to her what happened, and tell her that I could be a part of her life if she wanted me to. Well, in 2015, I was able to open my own little coffee shop where I hired 3 employees. By that time, I was married and had 2 wonderful toddlers. Well, from the 3 employees that I hired, one of them was my daughter, but I didn't know it at the time. Running out of time, follow me for part.
Okay, so can we please talk about how McDonald's is responsible for one of the biggest conspiracies? Yes, McDonald's. It became a massive FBI investigation and involved one of the biggest Italian mob families in New York. Well, around 1987, there was a little bit of a decline in the fast food industry, and McDonald's was really feeling it, so they were like, oh my gosh, how can we improve our sales? And this is when they decided to partner with Simon Marketing. And they had some amazing business ideas. They helped them come up with the Happy Meal, and they helped them come out with the Monopoly game. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I used to play it a lot as a kid. You would get this little sticker that you could peel off on the back of drinks boxes. It would offer you a free Big Mac, a drink upgrade, but some of them offered way bigger prizes, like jet skis, cars, all the way up to $1 million. Yeah, I never found one of those. But you could always bring it back and add it to your Monopoly board. And anyone could participate even if you didn't buy anything from them. Like you could just go in and ask for a chip or else it would have been considered gambling. McDonald's sales jumped 40%, so they were making bank. But it didn't take long for someone to tip off the FBI. Part 2 to the murder of Cody Johnson. Well, the day of the wedding hit and they had a custom song made for their wedding. And it stated things like, "You're my safe place to fall, you help me to climb higher for a better view." And this is all a massive foreshadow. After their wedding, Cody took a week off of work as their honeymoon period to move into their new house. Well, the day before this honeymoon period was over was a Sunday, so they went to church, went to the lake, and went out to Dairy Queen with some friends. And this was the last time anyone heard from Cody. The next day occurred and he didn't show up to work. His boss, who again was also his best friend, was extremely worried. So worried that he went to his house, and when he knocked on the door for a while and no one answered, he resorted to breaking in. He was panicked, looked for evidence around the house, and found Cody's phone in the garage. But there was no sign of Jordan. Absolutely panicked, he called the police. Because of how worried his boss was, the police took this very seriously. They were also wondering why his wife didn't make this report. Well, the wife ended up texting a friend asking if they had seen Cody, saying that he drove off with out-of-town friends and didn't know where he went.
Yeah, very unpopular opinion here. If you would like to get in contact with me, FaceTime me or call me. Do not text me. My boyfriend and friends have a lot to say about this. It's the thing that they complain about the most with me. But I don't think these motherfuckers understand that they are dealing with someone who has ADHD and is not on medication. And an extraordinary procrastination problem. Listen, when I see you text me, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right now. I'll respond to them in like 3 minutes. Then 3 minutes comes along and I'm doing something else and I completely forget that they texted me. Then it's 6 hours later and they're like, what the fuck, you're on Instagram but you're not responding to my text. Listen, I forgot. But if you call me or FaceTime me, it's right there. I have no other option but then to feel awkward for denying your call or just answering it on the spot, getting the conversation over with so I can continue my activities. This is not a me issue. This is an everyone else in my life's issue.